You are listening to Leaders and Legends, a podcast presented by Veteran Strategies, an Indiana-based public relations enterprise, and federally certified veteran-owned small business. I'm your host, Robert Bain, along with our producer, Chris Spangle. Our podcast is featured on the All Indiana Podcast Network in partnership with Wish TV. You may find Leaders and Legends at allindianapodcastnetwork.com. Thinking of starting a podcast or need to host a public meeting? Let Leaders and Legends, LLC be your partner as you look for new ways to communicate your message. Please contact us at chris@leadersandlegends.net. As always, all our podcast interviews are dedicated to the legacy and generosity of P.E. McAllister. Our guest today, Bryan Neale. He is the founder of Blind Zebra, the sales coaching firm that's helped thousands of professionals learn about the art of sales. And I just realized he's a podcast host and has been for 20 years, which takes you back to the Bush administration, if I did the math.
I would, yeah. It's definitely after the Carter administration. So, yeah.
He is also an NFL umpire, which we'll get to. Are you doing any of the championship games?
No, I'm done for the year.
Did you?
Yeah, done.
He's a self-taught musician and an avid fan of the national champion Indiana Hoosiers. Bryan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
So great to be here. Of all those things that sound cool and fun, I am full of joy because my Indiana Hoosiers are national champions. I am so full of joy. I can't even describe it.
Is it, let's just start with that real quick because we try not to date the podcast, but we have a little bit here. The Hoosiers just won the national championship here in January 2026. You, I think, are a few years older than me.
I'm 56.
Okay, you're a few years younger than me. Nice head of hair.
Thanks,
Dick.
I still have it. And you know what? I swear, I don't color it, and I've never done any.
How can you be an NFL referee and not have any gray hair?
It's really weird. It's all natural. It just is.
You graduated from, so I'm 58, so I'm 2 years older than you. You graduated from IU, I'm going to guess, in 92.
You got it.
There was never a time in my life, except for a couple of bowl victories, where IU was, relevant's not even the word. How about semi-prosperous?
Yeah.
So I have a lot of friends who went to IU, older Bill Benner, folks like that, who are amazing, loyal, incredible fans. Describe what it's like. The feeling. You were at the game.
I was. It is a feeling that I've never felt before, and it's this hodgepodge of reasons why. The first is I have a deep connection to football. That's why I referee football, and I have for 37 years. I played. It was my therapy. My parents split up when I was little, and football became my outlet. It's where I could go knock another kid on his ass and get praise for it from a fatherly figure guy, coach.
That's the Gen X advantage, Spangle. You don't have that.
No, they were all in 5-point harnesses, with the seat belt on and a bike helmet. Like, good for you. And you and I were in the back of the car fighting for who gets to sit in the window while our mom smoked with the windows up, right? Let's call it what it is.
Incredibly true.
So football is my thing. Indiana has always been a basketball school, which is fine. I was a huge Indiana fan, forever, but I was a football guy. And in my tenure at Indiana, 88 to 92, we were pretty good. I'd call this relevant. I see. Yeah. What did you call us just a minute ago? You
semi-prosperous, maybe?
I mean, it was Bill Mallory. We went to a bowl game. We would go to the game. We'd tailgate, but we'd go to the game and watch the game. And all I ever wanted to do was just go to a decent bowl game and be decent and not like a full-blown run-over pansy school that all the big schools would beat up on. And that's it. That's all I ever wanted. Nothing
like Oregon or Alabama.
All of them. And so never was this in anyone's vision plan. Like, we could be national champions. We just wanted to be decent. That's it. And then we went up and down and up and down. And then when Coach Siggs got there, some of the things he was saying when he got here, I said,
Purdue sucks, Ohio State sucks,
literally
Michigan sucks.
I said, look, this is a 10 or a 0. He's either going to be the second coming or it's the biggest clown show ever. And it was the first. And being at that game, way past
Which game?
I'm sorry, the national championship game
Mm-hmm.
that just came from recently. I know we don't date podcasts, but we did. I was with I've got 3 sons enrolled right now at Indiana. My oldest son, senior, wanted to stay in Bloomington in case we won. The younger 2 came with me. So I've got them. Father-son trip, great bonding, connecting thing. I've got my childhood friends, 5 of us, who all went to Indiana University for college, but all grew up and known each other since we were 10, driving mopeds and bikes around in Newburgh, Indiana. And then I've got all these college friends that I went to college with, all in the same spot at the same time for the same reason. And I saw people that I went to college with. You don't have to go to college or you're in the service. There are people that you saw all the time. And then when you left the service or when I left school, I never saw them again. And I would have never seen them again had it not been for this game. I saw people I haven't seen for 40 years. And it was literally like we just saw each other last week at Nick's, which is a bar in Bloomington, Indiana, if you don't know. It was the
where your son was.
It was, they were in Kirk. They were out. Yeah, he was actually in Kilroy's for like 20 hours. Another bar in Bloomington, if you don't know where that is.
Tears?
What's that?
Tears?
Sobbing. I have video. My son and me I'm like, doing the videos. I'm like, I'm crying. And my son's crying. And my son's 6'3", 280. He's a big guy. And everyone was crying. It was just this bizarre, awesome, joyful feeling, unbelievable, that just brought this group of humans together who are all fairly like-minded and, see the world the same way and just are humble and are just so happy, not cocky.
I was reading on X, Hoosier fans were rating the opposing fans.
Yeah.
Said Alabama fans were great. Oregon fans were especially cool, even for the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah.
The Ohio State mingled really well. Said the Miami Hurricane fans were awful.
Not nice. It wasn't a good experience. And again, being a Hoosier fan, we're not there to talk smack or get in a fight or, any inkling of that was okay, walk away, we're out. We just it didn't have much of that, but you just kept your distance and just avoided. It was all Indiana. It was us. It was just us. And we just kept to ourselves and we did our thing and we won.
Did you remind the Hurricane fans who were being jerks that they're probably Miami Dolphins fans?
No.
Why are you running your mouth?
No, that's the thing. That's not an Indiana thing to do. We just don't do that. We're not, I'm stereotyping. We're not confrontative people. We're the kind of people that say good game after the game and you guys are really good after the game. And what a fun experience that's how we are. And that's how we were. Yeah. And it was just great to observe in mass down in Miami.
Do you think in 2026, Purdue should give up the IU sucks chant after the kickoff of every game? Since Indiana University football is 16-0 and the national champions.
My wife is a Purdue alum and her extended family are mostly Purdue fans. And even this is so different. There's no even smack talk to give to Purdue. We don't have to. We don't have to say anything. And if they want to say Indiana sucks, they can. I'm not going to say anything back. I don't need to. Because we're hanging a 6th freaking banner. I don't know where we're going to put it. I don't know if we're going to put it in Assembly Hall or we're going to put it on the football field, but we're hanging a 6th banner for a national championship.
Last question about that. I mentioned Bill Benner a few minutes ago, whom I love.
Yes.
Who is as Indiana Hoosier as you can get.
Yes.
And he would we have lunch once a month, another friend of ours named Mark Apple, IU grad.
Yep.
And I used to go, man, you're going down for a football game? This was, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, I've known him 20 years or more. And he was like, yeah, he just wanted to go down there. He and his wife wanted to go down there. And I'm just so happy, obviously Don Fisher and a lot of people whose names you know. But what is it about Bloomington especially? Everybody I know who went to IU, or 99% of the people I know who went to IU, went to campus, would go back tomorrow. Especially with the money they have now.
Yeah, right.
What is it about Bloomington that's so special? Because it clearly is.
I refereed 8 years in the Big Ten conference. So I've been to every Big Ten school except the new ones. I have not been to.
They don't count.
But the original Big Ten. I've been to Penn State. I've been to Nebraska, all of them. And I try to stay really objective about those things. And I'm telling, and you ask other people too. There's something about the combination of the aesthetics, the town, and the vibe of the town, plus the students and the way the students that's the special part. It's that combination of things. Because you can go to other places where, and there's some places that are really magical. Wisconsin's campus,
I heard Madison's beautiful,
fantastic with a lake and stuff like that.
Miami of Ohio, I hear,
fantastic.
is beautiful.
Penn State is beautiful, just really gorgeous. But there's a personality of the IU students. I think there's this collective fan base, like student body personality that's just different, and it's the things we talked about earlier. It's humility. Everyone's really nice and just fun and just chill, and it's just an awesome place.
We should mention when we talk about IU fans and loyalty and bleeding cream and crimson that Mr. Jim Morris.
Hey, man.
I wish he was here for this.
Oh, my gosh. I got his daughter-in-law, someone that I saw that I went to college with. I still see her in India a lot, but I tried to take a selfie.
Todd's wife?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shannon. So I knew her really well in college. I tried to take a selfie of everyone that I saw for like the memory banks. You know what I mean? So
sure.
I got a selfie with Shannon.
You're listening to the Leaders and Legends podcast, not the Cream and Crimson podcast. Although if you were confused for the first few minutes, we apologize. But it really is an unfathomable event. Being compared to Miracle on Ice, obviously there are some considerable differences. But in terms of a program that reached the pinnacle of its sport, I don't know what else compares.
I don't even think it compares to Miracle on Ice or Rudy or Hoosiers or anything like that, because the difference there is in those cases, you had this group of like, they were individually underdogs, like the players on those teams. Our players were not underdogs. You may have said, well, they're not 3-4. They were really good football players though. And very few of them have ties to Indiana. So for me, that's a little bit different. This is just this anomaly, its own thing, where this group of people came together for themselves and they gave hundreds of thousands of others a gift that we never even asked for or saw coming.
Please tell me you're going to get Signetti on your podcast.
No.
You don't think he'd come on?
I don't know. I don't know that my audience would care to hear from Kurt. I don't know. You know what?
National championship coach.
Well, what they do, because what I talk about him on our podcast a lot is our operating system, and he is an operator. He's a systematic operator, and that's how we teach people. So,
a wise philosopher once told me that all you can do is ask. All they can do is say no.
This is true, isn't it? I have a list.
Who would that philosopher be?
It'd be Mr. Spangle.
Mr. Chris Spangle.
Got to ask, right?
Vane, you just got to ask him. Tell me a little bit about, as we talk with Bryan Neale, founder of Blind Zebra, sales coaching. I've tried that a couple of times through no fault of anyone else's. I just didn't cotton to it, and I'm not exactly sure why. It was not anything anyone else did. But I do know people who have gone through others like sales training or business coach, that kind of stuff, who have raved about it. We've had Paul Lucian on the podcast, and he's terrific.
Great.
Why would I sign up for this? What's the advantage of going through your program?
Yeah, because it's not sales training and coaching anymore, and it was for years. And another fellow Hoosier named Tom Searcy, who's also in the sales coaching business, local guy, I love Tom, gave me this quote. He attributed it to his dad at the time. And he said that selling is 90% process and 10% magic. And my experience was for 20 plus years, sales training and coaching works on the magic part of selling, not on the process part. And even if you have a system, like Paul Lucian's a Sandler guy, so there's a Sandler submarine. Sure. You probably learned all this, right? But when you step back from it, that's a very, very transactional process. And that's what we did. We did our own version of that for years. And I made a really good living and did pretty good. And my clients had good results. There was always something missing about measurement and predictability and operating things that I learned on my football job that is prevalent everywhere in the NFL. But Kurt Signetti, it's an operation. It's a checklist. It's like flying planes.
Because they talk about the operation, for example, of the field goal.
That's it. It is. It's down to the hundredths of a second on a field goal. The snap, the laces. You don't realize when they go to long snapping school, they measure how many times the laces are snapped back into the proper position out of 10 snaps in a row. So when they snap it back, you see the holder spin the ball a little bit. They don't want to spin the ball. That's an extra like quarter of a second.
Sure.
They want it flat. So they measure, everything is measured like that with that kind of precision. So we in our company started to grow through COVID really fast, and we got we're not like huge, but too big, too fast, and I couldn't handle all the work, and we had no systems. And so several of our clients were running on this operating system called EOS, stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's based on a book called Traction, a guy named Gino Wickman. Highly recommend both of those things. So we hired an implementer to come and help us install the EOS system in our company, Blind Zebra, so we could be better operators. And as we're doing that, I'm saying to my wife, who's our CEO and my boss, which makes for fun senior leadership team meetings, I said, everything that I have taught in the past, I have it all. I have a system, but I don't have it organized or written right. And so I got permission from her to spend about a year just rewriting all of our material and documenting it with an instructional designer and recording videos on it, and get away from the training of the art and basically write an operating manual for a sales force. And that's what we did. And we switched the model where we now, instead of me, like in Paul's case in their Sandler, they are the ones that are the coach. So Paul and Aaron Prickle and all those people, they're the coach. In our model, the sales leader becomes the coach, and they install the system at their place. So now I have a scaled model that doesn't require me to be there, which is actually a business, not a job now.
Sure.
It's got some value to it. And the things that they're installing aren't art things. It's not like role playing, practicing that. It's literally like a pilot's checklist. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom, check, 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 take off. It's like that. And so far, so good. We're 3 years into it. We have 122 certified coaches across the country. We'll have a class of 25 coming in next week, actually, of this recording. It'll be our biggest class ever. And the results that these people are getting are just fantastic. And they're results just like little common sense results, things that people they've been chasing around for 4 weeks, they book meetings with one of our tools, two-part checklist. And they just do this thing and it works. And it's not tricky. It's not what they say. It's what they do. So it's not a shticky line. It's not, tell me more about that. It's not that, which is fine. But, it's just, it's mechanical operation stuff.
How would I know more about what you're doing before we move on to other topics? Because I want to make sure that you get a chance to.
I appreciate that. If there's anyone who's in B2B selling, business to business, we don't do any business to consumer stuff, especially a sales leader who's looking at their team's also, there's a generational transfer happening. Gen Xers are leading, boomers are leaving, millennials, Gen Z, they want systematic stuff. They don't want baloney, bullcrap, cheesy, shticky stuff that our grandparents did. So if you want to learn how to get certified, but it's a corporate certification, you send me an email, bzsos@blind-zebra.com. I wrote my own jingle. Can I sing it?
Say the email address again.
bzsos@blind-zebra.com. How about that? I wrote that on my own podcast, bzsos@blind-zebra.com. Ta-da. It's an earworm, telling you. Earworm
Progressive
alert.
can't stop you from becoming your parents. You mentioned as we were getting ready, and I should mention by name, forgive me, Emily Shaw at Lucian. You are wonderful. You are amazing.
She's great.
And
I don't know her, but on LinkedIn, she's great.
She's
awesome.
terrific, and it's not her fault that I was so awful. We'll just make sure that disclaimer is out there, because she is terrific. What?
Yes.
Yeah, she was very helpful to Chris Spangle Enterprises.
It's great.
She's got a great system. And I, like I said, I think you have to go into it with a different mindset that I did, or go in willing to be, and I hate to say I was going through basic training 39 years ago today, broken down, build up, or whatever. You mentioned, and I didn't know this. Let's talk about your podcast.
Okay.
The fact that I didn't know about it means what, Spangle? A, I don't listen to podcasts. B, he's never invited me to this podcast.
And C, our research was less than thorough. Anyway,
I've got it right here. I got it right here in my notes. What is the name of your podcast, and what is the mission of your podcast?
Awesome. I have 2 now. I'm going to talk about the main mothership first, because that's the long one. It's called the Advanced Selling Podcast. It's the longest running sales training podcast in podcast history. It's with my partner, Bill Caskey, who was the first one to hire me into the sales coaching business here in Indianapolis. And And our mission is super simple with that podcast. It's a 20-ish minute episode that has a sales topic that's relevant to business sellers. And we give our take on whatever that topic is. And that's what we do. It's not overly planned, not overly produced. It's what I would call a guru format. So we don't have a lot of guests on there. It's mostly he and I giving 2 or 3 ideas. And we cover everything from literally what to say to someone who's blowing you off, how to get through a process with multiple decision makers, down to how to plan your day. We're actually doing a 4-part series right now on mental health for salespeople because you had some stuff that
terrific.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, really good.
You ever talk to veteran entrepreneurs or discuss veteran issues?
No, I would love to though. I'm a huge passion piece for me is mental health.
My friend Courtney Zog,
okay,
who's leading a terrific venture, vets thing. I will send her to you.
Would you please?
Absolutely.
Love to chat.
She's phenomenal. Husband's a combat vet.
Awesome.
Even better, Spangle. She lives in Irvington. Where can we find your?
That's advancedsellingpodcast.com, or if you just Google Bryan Neale, Google advanced selling, or Google sales podcast. What I'm proudest the most of, we've never promoted it active. We've never spent any money to promote it. It's just organic 100%. We're on every list there is because we've been doing it for so long. Not because it's good,
but it is.
We just outlast everybody. what better for that for me is how we started because we're local here. Bill and I were radio geeks. He majored in radio television at DePaul, and I was in a Boy Scout Explorers troop for radio in Newburgh, Indiana when I was in high school, and I loved radio. I still do love real radio. And he and I had a radio show on WXNT 1430 here in Indianapolis.
Where Spangle started.
I know. And it was from noon to 1 on Saturdays, and Spangle will know the least listened to hour of the entire radio week is noon to 1 on Saturdays. Literally nobody's listening. So they gave us the hour, and he's like, "You want to do this?" Yeah, it's called Business 360. And we just started doing it. We talk about business issues and things like that. I was working college football at the time. So on Saturdays, couldn't do the show for, September through November, really. And Bill had to carry it by himself, and it was just getting clunky. And then he came in one day, he said, "Hey, have you heard of this thing called podcasting?" And I'm like, "No." He goes, "I guess it's like a radio show for your AirPod, your iPod rather." I'm like, "I've never heard of it." He goes, "I think all we need is like a couple of mics and a digital recorder, and we upload it to this place called Libsyn." And I'm like, "Let's do it." So we bought microphones and went into our conference room and recorded our first couple shows. And it started to blow up outside of the U.S. because Europeans and Australians got on the podcast train way quicker than Americans did. We started to get stuff on LinkedIn from people. I'm like, holy cow, this is wild. The biggest hit for me with podcasting, and I believe everyone should have a podcast, by the way. I think every person, I don't care what you do, should have a podcast if you're a business person. Or even a dentist or a doctor. Everyone should have one. I was going to London for work. And so I went to our little LinkedIn group that we have for our podcast. And I go, "Hey, if you listen to our podcast, I'm going to be at the Intercontinental Heathrow Airport at 6:00 on Thursday night. I'll buy you the first round if anybody shows up." 20 people showed up. I was like, what in the hell just happened here? I could not believe it. Couldn't believe it. And I'm like, this is a thing, man. Podcasting is a thing.
Well, we wouldn't have Leaders and Legends without the expertise of Mr. Spangle and the kindness of Rachel Coverdale.
You know Rachel too. She's awesome.
She is awesome.
Married to another Hoosier basketball legend, Tom Coverdale.
Yeah,
call that what that is.
Yeah, but I think she doesn't have any cream and crimson in her wardrobe.
I know she doesn't. That's okay.
She is terrific. You are listening to Leaders and Legends. Our guest is Bryan Neale. Bryan, is there a particular Hoosier leader and or legend you admire most?
I am a my man Mitch man. I love Mitch Daniels as a person, as a leader. I don't know him personally. He is such a common sense, level-headed leader, and he's the kind of leader that's done it multiple times in multiple venues, which tells me that is just the core of good leadership. So you lead state government, you lead an institution like Purdue. His economic policies, what he did with Purdue's economic situation, just fantastic. I'm just a huge fan. And then the other thing I loved about him is all of us that were in and around Indiana that were fans were like, "Mitch, president, dude, you got to run for president, man. We need you." He's like, "Nope, Nope, not an option.
He has a book
Mrs.
coming
Daniels,
out.
Yeah, it's just not an option for him, which I admired even more. I'm like, dang it, he's a good leader.
He got, on our podcast, he talked a little bit about how far down the road he got. It's tough when and I'm speaking for Mitch Daniels, which is always a career ender, right?
He's capable.
I got the sense that he felt like he could do a very, very good job of president, which I agree with, of course. But he just couldn't. He wasn't sure, didn't have the confidence that he could beat Barack Obama in 2012, which is reasonable.
I agree.
I mean, he was never gonna penetrate certain aspects of the electorate and the news media to really give. I mean, it would have been a close race, and it would have been a phenomenal dialogue and debate. Yeah. But I get it. I mean, you talk about people who run statewide in Indiana, and Fort Wayne to Evansville is a bitch.
Yes.
Try California to Connecticut.
Yes.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yes.
Bryan is also a football referee.
True.
Not just any football. Bryan has been refereeing for more than 35 years.
Yes, 37.
Has been in the National Football League for more than 12 years. And was part of the crew for Super Bowl 56 in 2023. Which
True
Super Bowl was that? What were the teams?
It was the Rams and the Bengals.
How did you get into, now we've had this discussion a little bit before. I refereed high school basketball in Indiana, which isn't Afghanistan, but it's not that far off. And CYO on the east side. I don't understand how I did it because I needed the money. Why would someone like you mentioned your love of football, you have a successful company. Why would anyone subject themselves to being on national TV and have to stand there and get roasted by a coach or have the instant replay prove you're wrong? What's the joy?
The crap we get at the NFL is not as bad as what you get at St. Lawrence, Parish or St. Rock basketball game. Let's call that what that is. Those are little CYO schools here in Indianapolis.
I've refereed some Martinsville, Mooresville basketball game.
It's a thing. Yeah, story starts, I mentioned a little earlier, when my parents split up when I was 9. I'm originally from Evansville. We had bounced around southern Indiana for my dad's job. He's a hospital administrator, so I lived in Columbus for a little bit, St. Louis, Columbus, Indiana, and in Greenwood. We moved home when my parents split up, and football became my outlet. My grandpa signed me up for it when I was in 5th grade, and I was a really shy, quiet kid. And I was always a new kid because I was in new schools like every other year growing up, and wasn't really good at making friends. I wasn't super outgoing. And football became this place where I put these pads on and I just knocked the crap out of a kid, and I got praised for it. I got to meet other kids, and I was pretty good at it. And it just became my thing. I wasn't so good at it that I could even remotely play college football. My coach, John Leidy, God rest his soul, great human being. He had really weird ways to say things. Like joke grenades, I would say. It's like a weird, like it just like you'd have to wait and then it would hit you. And it was like, he would say, Neil, you could run all day in a shoebox. And I'd be like, what is he talking about? Run all day in a shoebox? And he'd say, man, Neil, Christmas morning gets here quicker than you do. I'm like, what is he talking about? And I realized he was saying I was really slow. Very, very, very slow. So no chance to play college football. Went to my coaches. I want to stay involved. Should I be a volunteer coach? What should I do? I want to stay. I love this game. They're like, you should get your referee's license. And then they said, you've kind of got the personality for it, which was kind of a rub. Like you're kind of a dork. It's kind of a nerdy thing. You can't wear a referee suit and look cool. You can't fall.
You can't. No. The common expression is rabbit ears.
It's a thing. Yeah.
But you can't fall to pieces every time.
No. And so I did. I went out. I was a freshman at Indiana University in 1988. I worked my first game, Bloomington South JV game, and I'm running around. I didn't know what I was doing. No signals. I didn't throw my flag. Didn't blow my whistle. I just ran around. And I got in the car. I'm like, God, that was awesome. And I found out later the 2 guys that worked with me, like, that guy sucked. He was terrible. He was lost, But I was like, I was hooked. My coaches made us write goals on note cards. That was how we were taught as from freshman in high school through your senior year. And you had to present them to your coach every year. It was a great lesson. I didn't know it was a good lesson at the time, but it was a great lesson. I didn't know any better. So I wrote down on this note card when I was 19 after my first season, said, I think I want to ref the state championship by the time I'm 31. And then I just started adding increments of 5 years. I said, if that's the case, then I want to be in the Big Ten by the time I'm 36, NFL by 41. And then I gave me 10 years to work the Super Bowl at 51. And that when I was 19, I wrote that down. I didn't know how to do all that, but I knew what I wanted.
You refereed college football?
I refereed college football. I refereed high school for about 14 seasons. I refed small college, D2 and 3 for 9 seasons. And there's an overlap there because you work both of those when you're coming up through the ranks. Then 2.5 years in the MAC, Mid-American Conference, and then I did 8 years in the Big Ten. And then I got called up to the NFL on March 22nd, 2014 at 11:48 a.m. That's when I got that call.
Did you referee any IU games?
Yeah, there's actually a piece on my website. Dave First, who's a sportscaster here in Indy. So Dave and I grew up together, started my love of radio. So we grew up together. We're really good friends, still are. He and I bought Mr. Microphones when we were in 8th grade. And we used to broadcast our high school basketball games on our Mr. Microphones, and our friends would sit around with their Walkmans and listen to us. And that's how he got into what he's doing. He still does it, And that's where I kind of fell in love with radio, was working with Dave back when we were little.
And were you at IU when Joe Buck was there?
He left early, so yes, for a year I think we overlapped.
Because he's all over social media.
Yes,
Jim Buck, longtime football play-by-play person for Fox, and now I believe ESPN.
Yes, I didn't know him, but I knew about him.
So would you have refereed the IU national championship game?
No.
If you had said, if they had just called up and said, hey, man, we had someone drop out, you're the only guy we can get a hold of, we'll pay you no amount of money?
No way. No way. I'm a fan,
because you wanted to watch the game.
Yes.
B, because you didn't think you could be fair.
100%. I could ref the game fair easy. When you get out there on the field, it's just colored jerseys, and you're just so wired to do the game. But it was more about being with my family and my friends and the stands and the feeling of that. Even the game, I'm never in the stands ever, and it was weird. Number one, I've got a credential. I can go anywhere I want. Now I'm in the herd. This game, here, there, you can't go anywhere.
With the bison.
Totally. You can't talk your way anywhere, all this stuff. But then I had, then when the game started, I'm wired. I'm 37 years doing this. I'm wired when the game starts, my pulse drops and I get hyper-focused and I shut everything out. That's not how it is in the stands. In the stands, everyone's yelling and screaming and high-fiving. I'm like, this is a lot. I got to chill here. So, I had to take a couple breaths. I got to go walk around by myself a little bit because it just was unnatural for me.
No way.
Weird.
I could have refereed a football game or a basketball game, and this is obviously a tribute to your integrity and the integrity you have to have to referee at your level. I mean, I never would have.
No.
I'd have been calling roughing the passer on Miami every third play. Like, you just couldn't do it.
Yeah. And that I could,
but that's a fan mentality, right?
Yeah. And I can mechanically, I also have so much pride in my refereeing work because I work so hard to get where I am that I would always put a good product on the field. I would never not call something that I saw or didn't see because of anything. I would always call what I saw the way that I felt should be called by the rules always. That's easy.
May I ask you a question, which I think you can answer?
We'll see. I'll tell you if I can't.
There's been a huge, maybe that's not right. There's been a fevered push in the last few weeks to get rid of the rules analysts on television broadcasts. I don't know how many football games you watch where you're not actually on the field. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? The argument being that, look, 99% of the time they back up the person on the field. Now, is that because they're friends or they're like, hey, these referees are so professional, they get it right most of the time? But, it's always easy to blame the refs, the Russian judge.
I didn't know that. I didn't know there was this call for that. I just don't pay attention to that as much, I guess.
It started a huge argument on X regarding the Buffalo play.
Okay. Yeah, I think the reason that, from what I know from the past, you can fact check on this, but the networks did research that said, hey, the fans really appreciate having someone who knows about certain things. So they have the analysts, so Joe Buck, they have certain history with what they did. Well, they all played. None of them refed. So the idea is, hey, if we have a rule thing, let's have a rules expert who did ref or knows the rules really well, who can inform the fans, makes a better experience for the fans, which I think is good, which I think is why that rule got created in the first place. And I still think is good. And it's not because I am one. It just is the truth. We're pretty darn good at what we do. And we're right way more than we're wrong. And I don't think I know it's got nothing to do with anyone's like relationship or fans or friends or there's none of that at all. Those guys they did the job and they'll look at it and it's what it is. I mean, it just is.
Let me move on just for a second.
Yeah.
Makeup call, fact or myth?
It's 100% myth. I can't even tell you what it's just the here's the other thing I tell people.
Please note that Brian's face is contorted and
I just, which is fine. It's fun for people to think all these things. I worked 37 years. I'm sorry, to get to the NFL, 27 years. And I would drive to Marquette, Michigan, just south of the North Pole in the UP, to ref a college football game at Northern Michigan University for $125. It's 8.5 hours one way, $125, 8.5 hours home. I've grinded for all that stuff. There is zero part of me, and this is going to sound selfish, I don't give a crap about any of those, the fans, the players, protecting, none of that. I want to get my body of work as good as it can be, and I want to be right. End of story. So there's nothing in my head. I can't tell you how many times we have to write all this paperwork out. We have to write the score. I never know the score. I have a vibe of, like, from a football IQ. If someone's down, they need a field goal. I know that, but I don't know the numbers. I don't know it's 27-24. I just know they need field goal, touchdown, that's football IQ stuff for game situation management.
And what exactly is your role? What is your title? Position, what is your role on the field?
I'm the umpire. There's 7 positions on the field in an NFL game. The umpire is responsible mostly for interior line play, roughing the interior line. And I'm sort of like, the head referee is Maverick and I'm Goose.
Sure.
I'm the real. I want to make him look good. And that's one of my primary job. And then I also say, so if you go to like an old school, like rock and roll show at a concert or something, there's groupies waiting around, they want to see the lead singer and the guitar player. The umpire's like the bass player. No one's waiting around to see the bass player after the gig. You know what I mean? It's like a blue collar job. So,
do you get yelled at much? Like, because you're not on the side, so I would imagine the sideline official is the one who gets roasted the most.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we don't hear much. We have a lot of, obviously, because we're in there with the players near the huddle, so lots of player interaction. And again, they're all, in any endeavor you take, I'm sure it was this way in service. It's like this way if you're a teacher. 99.5% of the people are pretty good people.
Yeah,
and 0.5% aren't, and that's it.
What did you think of it was the Buffalo player who, when they had that call against him, pass interference or whatever, in the playoffs, took his helmet off and threw it on the ground in front of the official?
Yeah, you have to also keep perspective as an official, which we do really work on this. This is a tough business, and these people, the coaches and the players, they sacrifice time and energy, and the players, their health, it's beyond what people could ever imagine. You see it up close and personal for entertainment purposes, and
they make a lot of scratch. But you're right. Your point's well taken.
Yes, they do a lot of sacrifice of their bodies and their time and all that stuff. And so you understand that perspective. You understand the frustration, how hard and competitive it is to get to certain places, and you respect that. And then you have to go by the rules. And if a guy takes his helmet off and throws it down, it's a penalty. But it doesn't mean that, it's just what it is. There's nothing.
You surprised it doesn't happen more often?
No, they're pros. They're pros.
Have you ever felt threatened? I mean, these dudes, 6'6", 300 pounds is nothing compared to.
I feel safer in my NFL job than anywhere else I am, and I feel pretty safe most times in Indy. Our security's great. The players are professional. The coaches are professional. There's just no. There are respectful lines that they just don't cross, and I admire them for that, and us for too, because we don't cross the lines too. Because there's sometimes someone says something to you, you'll say something back, and we don't, regardless of what comes at you. It's a great those lessons are great for just being a human. For me,
how can NFL? We'll stay with NFL,
sure,
because there's lots of other. As someone, I just can't watch the NBA anymore. 7 steps to the hoop. Like
right.
At a certain point, it's ridiculous. What can be done to improve NFL officiating? And do you think that having instant replay has improved it?
Yeah, I think.
Can you answer these questions?
Yeah, I think, yeah, sure. I mean, I'll give you my opinions on things. I mean, I'm a purist. I love this game. I want to protect the game. The NFL is the highest level of that game that I love so much. I want to protect that. We have the saying, protect the shield. That's the thing that we do. And that's what it's all about. Whenever I stop working, the thing's going to go on without me. And no one's going to remember. I mean, it just goes on. It just does. So you got to keep in mind your role in the whole thing. And so our priorities are pretty straightforward. We protect the player's safety. Number one, no ifs, ands, buts about it. And then we keep the game fair and equitable. And that's it. And we chase perfection like the players do, knowing we're never going to catch it. And that's the deal. And then the league owners competition committee, all the injury data, they are really good at using that to make rule changes and things. The kickoff rule was really, the new kickoff came out of injury data, lower leg injury data and concussion data on kickoffs. And what's awesome about that, it's a great play. Fans love it. It's exciting. And the injury data is dropping. It's really awesome for the game. So those things, I love that.
So do the referees have any input into the competition committee, into the rules or penalties or anything?
Only from a standpoint of like, they'll ask our opinions about can and how this particular, if we change this rule, will you guys be able to officiate on the field? And we'll give them our honest opinions, and then they'll do what they want to do.
I wish there were fewer penalties. In other words, not penalties called, but plays that were penalties, like some of the illegal shifts and that sort of thing. It's like, man, why don't you whack about 10 to 15% of the penalties and improve the game flow and all that? And you weren't set for a half second and those sorts of things. Yeah. And that to me is a takeaway if my team gets punked out by the refs, which is a thing. I don't care what anyone says.
Okay. Keep telling yourself that.
There's got to be a reason why we haven't won a playoff game in 25 years.
They probably didn't score enough points to be my guess.
That's one part of it, but not all of it. What about that? Just in like, man, it'd be nice if they just cut out some of this stuff.
Yeah, everything in that rule book is for a reason, and it's a competitive reason or a safety reason, and it's layered. And so the layers come from situational things that occur as coaches get creative with things like, oh, there's the thing in the rule that would give us an advantage and it's legal or really whatever. And then they do it or they don't do it. And then other teams catch on.
Right.
And then the competition committee looks at that and goes, hey, we need to like change this because it's bad or it's good or whatever. So all those things, did you fly in the service?
No.
Okay. I always think about this with pilots, especially like military. And I have my pilot's license back in the day. So
my brother was a pilot for 30 plus years.
Oh, was he?
He just turned 65 in December. For Republic, so he had to retire.
Oh man. Did he fly in the service?
He did not. He was in the Air National Guard, but before he got a college degree. And his team is the Vikings.
Okay. Good for him. From here? Okay.
Yeah.
So flying little planes is somewhat this way, but flying jets in the service, it's the precision because you're going 650 miles an hour and tight, turn. So the NFL is a version of that. Like everything is so precise. So things that as a fan you might see and go, that's stupid, gives a player or a team just enough. And the advantage is hairline, but it's all you need. And so if that thing that you look as a fan, that's really frustrating and silly, like the tackle's too far back and we call it like, why is that? That is a gigantic advantage to a tackle. To be 4 inches back literally is a huge advantage in the timing of everything.
Last question before we get to the 5 questions we ask all our guests.
Yes.
The 2026 season, week 1, will there be a tush push?
No, I have no idea. Literally.
Have you been behind the Eagles when they do it and just go, man, this rule is something else?
No, I just it's again, rule book competition committee. They're the ones that give us the rules and then we put them in play. And so that thing is legal. So I'm reffing it legal and that's all I can do. You know what I mean? And the one thing someone said, do you have an opinion on the tush push thing? And I'm like, yeah, my opinion is I'd really love to stop talking about it. Because it's like, it's in the rules. I'm going to play it, and if they take it out, we'll take it out. We'll deal with it. That's funny though.
We've reached the point on the Leaders and Legends podcast where we ask the same 5 questions of all of our guests. Bryan Neale, Blind Zebra, are you ready?
I'm ready.
What was your first job?
Driving a forklift, carrying refrigerators out of the Whirlpool plant in Evansville, Indiana.
What was your first concert?
The Beach Boys, 1980 or 81 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
80 or 81? Why?
I can't remember which, because my dad lived there. My dad moved to East Liverpool, Ohio for his job, and I stayed with him in the summers and in the winter over the Christmas break. And we went over the Christmas break to see the Beach Boys.
If you could suggest any book for someone to read, which book would you recommend?
Love Yourself Like Your Life Depended on It.
By whom?
Oh, you had to ask me that.
Well, that's all right.
I'll get it. Yeah. Check it out.
Is that the right time?
Yeah.
Our research staff.
Yeah. Love Yourself Like Your Life Depended on It. Am I getting the title right?
Number 4.
Ready? Yeah. Come on. Yes.
Number 4, if you could witness any event in history, be there in person as it happens, which event would you choose?
I would choose the being when and wherever the most soldiers came home at the end of World War II. And I think like at Times Square, when you see those pictures of those soldiers coming home, the joy that all of the America and the free world felt and the respect they had for those guys and what they did for us.
Did you ever see The Best Years of Their Lives?
No.
Of Our Lives?
No.
You should. The movie won the Oscar. It was so good it beat out It's a Wonderful Life.
No kidding?
Yeah.
Dang.
I think it's The Best Years of Our Lives.
Okay.
It is one of the greatest movies ever, and it's about 3 servicemen coming home.
Awesome.
One of whom doesn't have any, his name's Harold, doesn't have any hands.
Huh.
And he won the Oscar. It's Harold Russell, I think. He won an Oscar not only for his performance, but he got a special Oscar for just his contribution to film. You watch it. It's beautiful.
Awesome. Will do.
Last question. If you could have dinner with anyone living today, Signetti? If you could have dinner with anyone living today, 2 hours off the record just to chat, whom would you choose?
Stephanie Neale.
You are just an angel. You have been listening to Leaders and Legends, a podcast presented by Veteran Strategies, an Indiana-based public relations enterprise. We are also a federally certified veteran-owned small business. As always, all our podcast interviews are dedicated to the legacy and generosity of P.E. McAllister. Our guest, Bryan Neale, known better as the Blind Zebra.
Call me BZ.
BZ, do your jingle again before we leave.
BZSOS at blind-zebra.com. That's the email.
Reach out to him. He can make a difference. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast again, since we had technical difficulties the first time.
Love it.
But I should mention, I want to close on this note, that Bryan, while at IU, co-founded the IU Dance Marathon, which has raised more than $50 million for Riley Children's Hospital. So glad to call you a friend.
Same, man.
So happy for your success. Please come back on. And as always, let me know if there's anything I can do for you.
Would love to. Thanks for what you do for us and for our state and for veterans. Appreciate that. Awesome.
Thank you very much for listening to Leaders and Legends, brought to you by Veteran Strategies Incorporated. If you want to contact us about this program or our menu of public relations services, please send us an email at robert@veteranstrategies.com. That's robert@veteranstrategies.com.